Alright, not gonna lie, but this one was a bit of a miss for me. More on that later. Hello good peoples of the internet and welcome back to a new Rogues review of the Winchesters. Today I want to talk about episode 6, Art of Dying. As always, there are spoilers ahead, so if you're not caught up, this is your warning to stop watching and come back at a later time, or continue to watch at your own risk. You've been warned. Okay, so now that the intro's out of the way, let me be a bit more clear about why this one's a bit of a miss for me. Is this installment all bad? Well, of course not. Most of it is fine and helps to further the subplot of this season. So what's my problem with it then? Mostly, it's the way the vengeful spirit gets vanquished. Lata interposing herself between Tracy's rifle and a possessed John and trying to reason with Mac, the vengeful spirit, in order to make it see sense and just let go, doesn't jive with me. Don't get me wrong here, helping a ghost find peace and move on can make sense, but if someone like Bobby freaking Singer couldn't let go of his anger towards Dick Roman after less than a year, Mac having been betrayed by his friends, and just ruminating on that fact for 10 years would not have been open to go peacefully. I really thought that they'd expel him from John's body using salt or iron, and then find some other way to deal with him later. Also, one other thing that bothers me a bit is seeing Carlos being all hung up on Anton. It really gives me the vibe that Carlos is way more gay than bisexual. Nothing wrong with that, but since they said that he's bi, at some point I'd like to see him make a move on a girl for real, instead of just flirting a bit to gain access or info for some hunt, or simply flirting for flirting's sake. Anyways, that point isn't that big of an issue, but I just wanted to throw it out there and see if someone else feels like they should have just said that he's gay and be cool with it. Apart from those 2 points, I don't really have many issues with the episode. It's a bit more subplot oriented, but that's okay. We get to see John and Mary's relationship get a bit more explored, as well as Mary's desire to get out of hunting. We also get a bit more info about the relationship between Mary's folks and her family as a whole, since Tracy's a hunt and was a hunter and is going back to that life in order to try and make amends for some of the mistakes that she's made. We also get a bit more info about Lata's backstory and her doubts about being a hunter who doesn't really want to hunt because she wants to avoid violence, and that's quite understandable with what we learn of what she had to go through. So yeah, this episode is more of a slow burn / emotional episode than one driven by the season's plot. Basically, this one feels a bit more filler-ish and not that important in the grand scheme of things, especially since there's not even a segment of the Akrita gaining the essence of the Sukuyant, which I can understand since it's been dead for far too long and the essence has probably departed the body a long time ago. So if you missed this installment, they'll pretty much pick up where they left off on episode 5 and pick the main story at the beginning of episode 7. The gang now knows where to go to find a radio station that Rocking Roxy is using to lure in the unicorn monsters, which was mostly where we expected this show to go on this episode. On that note, I'm glad that John suggested that the gang try and capture the Sukuyon to force the Akrita to come and get its essence, since they didn't know the location of the radio station yet. It works with what I said in my previous review. Are the gang going to capture those monsters to prevent the Akrita getting the essence of those monsters? Just hope that the gang are going to remember it in future episodes. Probably not if they want to move the story along, but who knows? Maybe they'll wait and resolve this essence collecting business in season 2 if the new owners of the CW decide to order a second season, which is still unknown to us fans at this point in time. Usually I make a kind of theorizing about where the story will go in upcoming episodes, but at this point, if I start with my "and now" line, I'll simply repeat what I said in my previous review for episode 5. So I'll just put a tag to the video and leave you to take a look if you are so inclined. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I've got for you. So like, share, subscribe and all that jazz, and keep up the good fight, and I'll see you in a new video pretty soon. Bye hunters!